Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dynasty Pylon. Because I knock everything off the freaking chair right here, or the desk right here. Just boom. Great start. All right, welcome to Dynasty Pylon. I'm Mark. We got Braden over here across from me. What do we got on tap for today, Braden?
Let's talk about the Deshaun Watson news.
That's the biggest thing, I think.
What could be?
I think every
news,
week
I guess.
something new comes out.
Yes, it's a never-ending story.
And then we're talking about Hall of Fame game because we failed to mention miserably the first football game was the day after our show last week. I realized that the day after it started, I was like,
I know it's football, but it's like,
I know it's just the Hall of Fame game, nothing special, but it's still, I feel like as a football-oriented show, it should be our duty to be like, hey, the first football game.
Yeah, football's coming. So
didn't mention it once. So we'll do a little, not too much time on it because again, it's not a lot of people played. We got some rumors that could affect fantasy. We got some injuries that could affect fantasy, and then maybe we'll talk some other fantasy after that. Maybe some sleepers or who we think will have good years. So let's just get into it. So you just start with Deshaun Watson, or should we save that for later?
Let's just get into it. I mean, it's another week, another news article about him. So
right. So we got Goodell coming out, I guess, and he basically said he's a predator and deserves at least a year. So apparently he's going to go through whatever it takes to get Deshaun Watson suspended for at least a year.
Yeah.
So personally, I mean, I'm kind of on the side that I kind of agree with it.
Well, yeah, because I think if you go back and you look at Judge Sue Robinson's report, you should basically call him like a sexual predator.
Mm-hmm.
And
he said he's a predator. He has a problem.
Yes. I don't know. The NFL just has a penalty issue. It feels like when they hand out, penalties or like game suspensions to people, like it's very inconsistent.
I do agree with that.
Like the D-Hop thing is 6 games for trace elements of something in the system.
Right.
But you sexually assault a bunch of women, it's the same amount of games.
Well, I've been saying that since this whole thing started is like you do drugs, you bet against football, you cheat, they're going to come down on you. Oh, you did something against the women? Slap on the wrist. I feel like, especially since you look at some of the studies they've been doing, they're saying that women are about to overtake men when it comes to watching the NFL. But then you have stuff like this, and I'm like, that's just I feel pushing them away, and I feel like hurt their end product. So I think that's why Goodell's really pushing for this suspension.
Yeah.
Because he knows it's going to hurt revenue down the line.
I think so.
If he doesn't do something.
He's got the most guaranteed money in the NFL, so obviously he's a face of, the league. I feel like if you just let him skate by, then it's just like, well, at that point, who will ever get a big? Well, I have to take that back. There's other people who get big punishments, but as long as it's against a woman, it doesn't matter. Is the way it looks.
Right, Ray Rice literally punched his wife in the face 2 games. Now, granted, his career did end because the Ravens cut him, and no one signed him after that because of the outcry of what happened of everyone. And so, I mean, he still technically it ended his career, but when you come back and you're like the NFL's like 2 games, you're literally like he literally just wound up and just boom, right in the face.
It was violent.
It was bad. And then I think there was some kicks too when she was down.
Well, I know the Kareem Hunt one involved a kick.
Then he had the Kareem Hunt. He had Tyreek Hill with his kid.
Yeah, but the Ray Rice one was bad.
No, the Ray Rice one was bad.
Footage of it.
But it just seems like then you go as far back as Ben Roethlisberger.
See, I wonder. Yeah, but that was one case against him?
That was just one. Well, I think it ended up being 2 overall.
But
one of them never materialized.
I would understand maybe 6-game suspension if this was only one woman or one person.
And that's where I was coming from the beginning.
But
maybe even if it was 2.
Yes.
I could be like, okay, 3 games for each one. Okay, maybe I could be.
Yeah,
but the fact that
off 30.
Yeah, exactly. That there's upwards of 30 women at least involved in this.
So
And now Brian brings up a point, and I do understand, like, obviously it probably wasn't 30 women that this happened to. You're going to have those people who were involved in the situation, but nothing happened to them, but they hear the cha-ching.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, well, I think more and more started to come out because other ones started
Exactly, so like the snowball effect.
There was one story about like a lady who said, like, oh, no, nothing happened. And then she heard about all the lawsuits, so she jumped in. And then her son was like, oh, no, she just kind of...
Yeah, and unfortunately that is going to happen. And I get that. But at the same time, I don't feel bad because he put himself in this situation.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if it turns out it was only like 5 times he did, like, they could have been times where it was a mutual thing where he asked.
Oh, I agree.
They were like, sure, I don't care. And they did it. But then, but they have proof that they were set up with the Texans, that he was there, that they were the masseuse. And it's like, well, we don't know what happened in there.
So do you think this ends up being a full year suspension, or do you think they just try and go heavier than what Sue Robinson recommended?
Oh, I think Goodell's going to do everything in his power to at least make it a year.
Yeah.
And then if he has all this stuff resolved going into next year, I think he'll be welcome back.
Yeah, but that's a big issue.
Well, he only has one left.
Is there only one left?
Yeah. He settled with, there was 22.
Yeah, but there's still those other women who might pop up.
There's still, but that's what I'm saying. As of right now, with all his cases, I believe he has one that's not settled. The Texans settled with 30. He settled with 23 of his 24. That other one's still ongoing. Obviously, the grand jury in Houston said there wasn't enough evidence to bring it to trial. Although I heard the opposite too, so I don't know what's going on there. I heard there was enough evidence, but the DA didn't want to pursue it. I don't know.
It's a weird case.
It's weird. Yeah, it's very weird.
I can see Goodell pushing for a full year, but I can also see the NFLPA pushing back and trying to get it reduced. And I think I wouldn't be too surprised if it's like 12 games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's going to try to push for a year. We already know from everything Watson and the Players Association has said that if it goes more than 6, they will sue.
Yeah.
Or, take it to court. But the thing that I don't understand is, from what I've seen and read and heard, that in the CBA that the players signed, the final ruling is still Goodell. So I don't know how they are going to win that.
I forget offhand though, but
I know there's the one thing on there.
Else in charge of it though,
and that's probably the best thing to do, because because of all because I feel like part of the reason the punishment's been inconsistent is because he's been the head of it. And I feel like he had that scrutiny, so he's like, I'm going to take a step back from that now, because apparently, what I'm doing is not working. So I understand that, but so there's 2 things in CBA that kind of confuse me. One is they did sign it, and that it is Goodell who ultimately has the final ruling on suspensions. But the other thing is there's something on there that states if he's going to change. This is where the PA and Watson are going to try and countersue. This is their argument, that there's something in the agreement that states if you're going to change the structure of suspensions, you have to give the players notice. And I guess they never gave, just send out an email or whatever, like, hey, we're changing this. Yeah. I guess they never did that. And Goodell said from the gate, when it leaked that they were doing a year, and they were like, well, that's not what matches up with the CBA. So I'm like, really? You could have just sent out an email and this would be a non-issue?
I mean, maybe. I still think they would have fought it.
Oh, they would.
But I mean, this is also not a common occurrence with penalties.
And that's what I was also saying. Is it's not like when they were going in to sign the CBA that they were like, oh, let's put all these contingency plans in case someone decides to, possibly sexually assault 30 women.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's going to think that's going to happen, let alone it being a top-tier quarterback like Deshaun Watson. No, you're not going to have something like that in there. So, I don't know. Is there going to be, if they do sue and win and get it to 6 games, is there going to be backlash on the Players Association? Or is it just them doing what they're supposed to be doing?
I don't think you would have backlash on the Players Association. I think that would just be like, look, the NFL didn't stand up for women here, blah blah blah, stuff like that.
But it wouldn't be the NFL. The NFL's trying to do it. It'd be the Players Association.
That's why I can see there being a compromise and maybe like getting it down to 12 games instead of like the 17.
Yeah. So if all this is going on, you think it'll be like with the Texans where he doesn't play? And then if he does go through and all this stuff happens, it could just be like time served.
I don't know, because like you could almost look at if he just paid back his salary last year, like he already served a suspension.
I know, I get that.
I don't know, because
and it's not like
I also don't know when this ruling's coming. Because
but at the end of the day, though, even if he does get this year suspension, it's costing the man $1 million.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the main.
I think they said if he lost the 6 games, they were like, "Oh man, sexually assaulted 30 women, cost him $300,000."
See, my wife.
That's why I say if you could get him suspended next year,
yes,
oh my god, that would be.
I was telling my wife, who's actually a Browns fan,
way worse like, for his pocket.
Just let him play this year,
right? I was just thinking that
for next year,
right?
Like what might happen with Alvin Kamara, where they push it on to next year because they can't get it dialed in. You let him play for the year on $1 million, and then you start hitting him in the pocketbook next year.
$43 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Fake news. Yo, I was like so confused.
He's really
I was like,
come back
fake news, and then he goes, "JK, what's up, guys?"
So how does this affect fantasy wise?
Oh, you just want him to play in that damn Houston game so bad. Jesus.
I don't know why he's so excited about that game.
I know. Like ever since the suspension talk started, he's like, just let him go back Houston. Just let him come back.
It's not even like it's going to be a competitive game,
right?
So I don't know why he's so excited.
I'm pretty sure Jacoby Brissett could beat the Texans with the team they have. Just run the ball, make sure your defense stops them. You're good.
So is the stock way up on Cleveland running backs then, and like way down on receivers?
Well, going into our rumor segment, that from what I heard, Chubb's stock could be way up.
Yeah,
Kareem Hunt has requested a trade. Now, I heard the Browns came out and said they weren't going to cater to that, but we'll see.
I get why he asked for a trade, because they said they weren't going to give him a contract extension, and he is in the last year of his deal. Mm-hmm. He's probably looking at this Deshaun Watson thing and be like, I'm going to get a lot of burn here.
Right.
I'm not going to go out and wear myself out.
I completely understand it too.
A little bit of, like insurance money, basically.
Well, I don't think he would burn himself out, but I feel like if he is an RB1. There's no doubt about it.
Yes. And
I think, like, obviously going there to begin with, he had to do what he had to do because of his situation.
Yes.
He's the one who kicked his girlfriend, right?
I don't even know if it was his girlfriend. It was just a lady.
Or a lady.
But I watched
how
that
fitting.
video.
Him and Watson are teammates. How about that?
Yeah. I remember watching the video, though, and it wasn't like he, like, brutally kicked her. Mm-hmm. Like, she was being very dramatic, and he was just kind of like, they kicked her.
Oh, I know his was very controversial because, like, you could almost, like, he was almost like self-defense a little bit. You could almost argue from the angles of the video.
I mean,
but
still shouldn't have had a kick in,
but that's beside the point. That's not what we're talking about. But I think it's interesting because I do agree that, one, it's his contract year. Now, granted, he has been putting up, like, I feel like the Cleveland's had, like, the best 1-2 tandem since Hunt's basically got there, I feel like.
Yeah.
Which is good, but also not good for Chubb owners because I feel like Chubb was, like, on a tier to be, like, the top running back in the NFL, and then Hunt showed up and was like, he's still good, but it's also a good thing for him to feel like it helped his longevity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not without its benefits.
A good break in the middle of the game. I feel like Cleveland kind of showed teams how to manage.
Well, I think last year was like, it's been something I've seen teams use here and there, but I think last year was the first time with, like, I saw it with the Panthers, the Browns, the Rams, the 49ers. Like, it was like half the league.
Well, I wouldn't say the 49ers. They would play a guy for a game and then be like, all right, you got the next.
What I'm saying, though, is you would see, like, the opening drive would come out. Like, the freaking Cowboys were the poster child for this. This is why I'm so high on Pollard. Yeah. The drive would come out. Zeke would get the first drive. Offense would do its thing. whatever defense comes out. The next drive, Pollard's the starting is the running back,
Yep.
and he's there for the whole drive.
Yeah.
So it's no longer this third down, passing down, or situational, or like if you get tired. No, it's like we're gonna alternate drives.
Yeah.
And that's good to me, but also kind of bad because I feel like the running position might go down a little bit, but it gets so much wider.
Yeah.
For the amount of players you can get.
I don't think you'll ever have like good years where except for like Derrick Henry if he can stay healthy.
He's the only
one,
the only team in this entire league I feel like that only rolls with like one running back.
Yeah, but once he retires and you go to other teams that usually your RB1 gets like
that and Najee Harris in Pittsburgh, but they don't do something with him. He's only going to last a couple years.
Yeah, that's true.
That dude touched the ball so many times last year.
I feel like it's beneficial because you give that guy like 2 drives, or like if that's a really long drive, you obviously have somebody else who can come in, do the next drive and a half, and that lets your guy get some rest so they're not just getting eaten up out there.
What is happening?
And I mean, you get that running, like if you're in a dynasty league like us,
yeah,
you get a running back for maybe an extra year or two because they're not taking all those hits. Plus, it, like you said, it widens the pool out. So, like now, running back 2s are even more valuable than they used to be.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if you get a high-end running back 2, that's almost as good, if not better, than a low-end running back 1 sometimes.
Well, like you said with Pollard, too, he's like an RB2, but he's about to become the RB1. So if you can find like that like sweet spot where like the RB1 is starting to wind down and they got that replacement.
I'm calling it right now. This is the first year in Zeke's contract where the dead cap space for cutting him is minimal, and he like the reason they did do it last year is his dead cap space number was like 30 million or something.
Yeah, something.
But this year it's like less than 3. Like going into next offense season, it's less than 3. I'm telling you, they're getting rid of him because they got to pay CD coming up. They got to because they're obviously not going to get rid of him because he's the last receiver they basically had. I know they got Gallup, but we got a little bit off track. But going back to Hunt, I feel like if he could go somewhere, there's a lot of places he could go and be RB1.
But if I get to,
and he gets to distance himself
him unless they get something valuable in return.
Oh, I'm sure. And then he can distance himself from the Browns because I don't think a lot of people really want. I mean, unless you're, what is it? Who's the defensive guy that only came?
Clowney.
Yes, it was a Clowney.
Like the only
he
reason
came back
is because of Ford.
Yeah, he came back because he came back for Watson. But I don't know. I feel like for him to get hit a contract, because this is probably going to be the last real big contract he's going to get. Because he's got to be 27, 28 now.
Something like that.
I feel like he's been in the league forever.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Like, I don't know. I know he was with the Chiefs for a good while. Shame he just.
27.
I feel like this will be his last big contract. So I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And being a Chubb owner, I kind of would be like, yeah, you can go. I'll maximize Chubb for 2 years, and then I'll trade him.
Running backs there who, like Dearness Johnson.
So they have Dearness Johnson.
And then they have another Felton, who's a smaller back, but obviously Dearness Johnson stepped in a few times last year. He was rock solid for him.
Yeah.
But I get it from the Browns' point of view too. Like, I'm not going to give you love because unless the season is going off the rails, then at the trade deadline, then you might trade them away to try and get something in return. But
and then also on the rumor mill, we got another player requesting a trade, and then we have a team who is fielding calls for a player.
That's right.
So we got Roquan Smith of the Bears, which I'm sure they would have talked about yesterday if they had a show.
Get on the phone with Ryan Poles, Steve Keim.
Right.
Bring him to Arizona.
Right. I was saying freaking Washington, get on the phone.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams probably.
I was like, dude is a beast. He's still young. I was like, dude, I would be like, I'd give up I'll give up a second for him probably. I think he's that good. I don't know if I go as high as a first, but especially not next year's draft. But I would give up next year's draft. I would give up a second to put Roquan Smith Especially if I feel like that's the one piece that like you're missing. It's like kind of the one piece I'm missing.
Yeah.
Like he could be that guy that just immediately comes in and is like, "Hey, don't worry about the mic. I got this."
Well, I feel like my division, we have to.
Oh yeah,
we have to be in an arms race with the Rams. So
right. No, I feel you. Every time you turn around, they're like backloading contracts.
I mean, it's not as bad this year, at least, because obviously Odell hasn't come back, and now he's being recruited to Buffalo. Oh, there's Tank.
I know he wants to be the highest paid linebacker. But he can think he's worth a first.
You have the cap space. Pay him.
Yeah, you have the cap space. Why ain't you paying him?
Pay him now before it gets out of control for the market on those guys. And then
now he did request a trade, but he did keep things open communication-wise. He said he wants to sit down with the owners.
Yep.
So it's still salvageable. It's not like it's one of those situations where he's done.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he likes dealing with Ryan Poles at the moment.
So it is salvageable still, but I don't think anybody's going to get. I don't. Do you? Well, maybe someone will give up a first for him. I guess. Yeah, I don't know if I personally would.
But then the problem is he goes to that team and they're quite bad. So.
But that's what I'm saying. If he's going to a team,
it could be the Rams. Who knows?
That's going to make him the highest paid linebacker. He's just going to go to another crappy team. Oh dang, he doesn't have an agent.
No, it's himself.
Oh, Martin says he is worth a first. Oh, there you go. Even in next year's draft, I said he would be worth a first in a normal draft, but I don't know about next year's draft. I don't know about 2023. If I would be like Washington, give up a 2024 first. Heck yeah, do it.
Right.
But apparently, I don't think teams put value in 2 years from now's draft as they do.
I feel like Tank's saying here, he doesn't have an agent. So
yeah, that seems to be a growing trend.
Yes.
Terry McLaurin. Oh no, he does have an agent. But there was a couple other people.
Well, like when D-Hop did his contract, he didn't have one. Yep. Larry never had one. Humphreys, our left tackle.
Yeah, it's been in other sports too.
Obviously, you look at Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah, Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have an agent.
Either, just him and his mom.
Yeah, it's like a girl. Our players finally like. Why do we could cut the middleman out and save money?
It's weird because I think like an NFL agent or an NFL agent can only get like 3% of whatever the contract is. So it's not like you're losing a ton if you have an agent. But I think nowadays enough players talk to each other and like they've learned the lingo of what's in there, so they don't exactly need agents.
Yeah. So Tank said final offer doesn't mean anything for an agent. For a normal person, he thought it was disrespectful.
Well, because I think he's wanting like 21 million, and they offered him like 17. So I think
I do agree with Martin here. He is still young, and he is one of the best linebackers in the league. But unfortunately, I don't think linebacker is one of the higher valued positions right now.
But I feel like if you're one of those dudes, and he's one of those dudes, you might as well pay him unless...
Oh, I get that. I'm talking about a first, though. I think he's worth $20 million. I think he's worth it.
Okay.
But I'm talking about trade value.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If he wants to go to a team that's going to compete, depending on who that team is, I don't think they're going to give up a first-round pick.
But if it's
and then turn around and pay you that much money.
I think it depends. If you're a Super Bowl caliber team, obviously like the Bucs do this, the Rams obviously do this. I don't know who else might just be willing to give up first, but it seems to be a growing trend where if you have a team that can win and you think like that's that piece, you're willing to have a first to get a guy like that, I think.
Well, of course Pittsburgh will do it because they spend all their first round picks on linebackers. Except for this past draft where they got a quarterback. Yeah. But before that, I swear to God, their last like 5 first round picks have all been linebackers.
They deal out Bush if they do that, then, right?
See, even Tank says I don't see anyone offering the first. But now that you're thinking about it, I feel like the way, especially Washington.
I don't think Pittsburgh does it though because they don't have their QB room set up to win now.
Yeah, no, I don't think they would do it now.
I think if you're set up to win a championship,
this was like 7-8 years ago. Yeah. They probably would have.
But if you're just trying to make the playoffs, it doesn't make sense to trade away.
I feel like with my window and what we have on defense, I would actually be okay giving up a first. And yes, I did hear the Seahawks, Broncos, and Raiders, Dolphins, or Steelers. I didn't hear about Dolphins and Steelers, but I did hear about Broncos and Raiders for sure being tops. I think I heard a little bit about the Seahawks.
Why would the Seahawks give up a first rounder?
I don't think they would.
Just wait.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think the Seahawks will give up a first rounder because they're a rebuilding team.
Yes.
The Broncos and Raiders, Broncos don't even have a first round.
I was going to say, that division is an arms race now, too. So, they're doing what, the NFC West was doing.
I can see the Raiders doing it. They're better off just trading their first round picks because they can't draft in the first round. So,
well, that was under Gruden, so
that is true.
It might be better now.
That is true. That was under Gruden, but and I guess the Dolphins. And like I said, we don't believe the Steelers would do it just because they're also
first rounders either. Oh, they have one less now, but they still have a first round.
Oh, I think they had a stockpile, so they might.
Yeah, well, they lost one because
I know they lost
the tampering
one
thing.
But how many did they give up for Hill? Just the one?
I don't know because I read something where they had they lost that first round pick, and it's like, oh no, they still have a first round pick. So
yeah. Oh yeah, it's such a slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
we're taking one of your 4 first round picks.
Yeah, so
I feel like the Dolphins will do something and they'll still have 4 picks. I don't know.
Yeah, the Dolphins
will trade down.
I could see being one of the teams, the Raiders and the Broncos. I don't really see the Steelers or Seahawks.
I don't either. I mean, I could see them, both of those teams. Well, the Steelers are already the number one, highest paid defense in the NFL.
I know.
You really think they want to bring in a guy like Roquan Smith, who they'd have to give $20+ million?
I mean, you never know with them. I just don't think it makes sense because you can just wait a year. Bush is probably at the end of his contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then find one this year.
But after listening to what you said and thinking about it, I am okay with actually giving up a first-round pick to bring him to Washington if that's the missing key to putting our defense through the roof. Because I feel like we're close. We have pieces.
Yeah, well, I feel like the defense would have to be the stronghold for you guys to really make a run.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I feel like we could be. We were 2 years ago. We were top 8 defense, and then we were expected to be even better last year.
If you can just reel in Carson Wentz to just be a game manager, just be.
I'm not even talking about the offense. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. If you can just get Carson Wentz to be an Alex Smith, that offense is going to be pretty decent. And if you have an excellent defense,
that's what I'm
saying.
Make
a good run.
And that's why I feel like if getting that excellent defense means giving up a first for Roquan Smith, I think I'd be okay with that. You pair him up with Holcomb and Jamin Davis, we'll have someone to learn from. I think you can make them better.
No, too. Plus, the whole thing about a first round pick is you're going after potential. If you trade it for a guy like Roquan, you know exactly what you're
doing. If you're giving up, and this is, I think, the philosophy of everyone in your division, their philosophy is we're giving up this first round pick to bring in a player that's going to help us win.
Yes.
And if we do what we think we're going to do, we just basically gave up end of the first round pick.
Yeah.
Which
20s, hopefully.
Which the player in return most of the time will probably end up being better than anyone he would be able to draft.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most of the time.
Well, I feel like
there are the
exactly
outliers.
What we did this year with
Hollywood. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what the Rams have been doing.
So that was my other thought process was, if we were able to get Roquan.
I don't like this. Bobby Wagner can just.
Oh yeah, he retires and then they just bring him in to replace Bobby.
That's
what the Seahawks apparently are trying to do already. So, but they don't even need him. They got Jordan Brooks.
Yeah.
Unless they're gonna move Jordan to outside linebacker. I don't know.
Just somehow San Francisco will get him, and we'll just have that stacked freaking defense again.
I don't know. I feel like linebacker is such a position that we have yet to address since Rivera's been here, and I'm just go in the draft. I mean, we did draft Jamin Davis last year.
Yes.
But then their solution was to take a guy who's only ever played outside linebacker and put him in at middle. And then they were just scratching their heads like, why is he not getting this?
Yeah, that sounds like a Cardinals thing. So,
and then they were like, we're going to put Holcomb in there this year. And I'm like, I love Holcomb. He's got a lot of spirit. He's very energetic. And hopefully that helps Jamin go back to being a beast, to playing in his natural position.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Roquan, we'll see what happens. I think something will happen probably sooner rather than later, just because of the timing of everything.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd want it to go into the season.
Well, I think he wants to sit down. I think it's the McCaskey family
Yes.
that owns the Bears.
Yes. He did say he wants to sit down with them, talk it over. So it's not bridges haven't been burned. They're still could go either way. But Martin is right. I did hear some of the top people were I think I did hear Dolphins, and then obviously Broncos and Raiders.
Yeah.
With both of I feel like the new arms race is now the AFC West.
Yeah.
So you're going to probably see them like throwing first round picks left and right to try to get people. I feel like this could really, like, especially with adding more the extra game, like this trade deadline can kind of be like MLB. I feel like nowadays, where like teams that are sucking will have a player who's about to be at the end of a contract, and they're like, "Here, trade them."
Yeah,
and these teams that are like competing are like, "Oh, we'll take them."
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
Like, just the way the last couple off seasons have been, I feel like the trade deadlines are going to start. Like, I think even last year was indication. Like last year's trade deadline was like, it's way more than you know. Like, I feel like
exciting now, because it used to just be like people.
Yeah, that's what I said. The trade deadline, you'd be like maybe 1-2 unknown players. Oh, that guy got moved. Oh, that, like, there wasn't really much, like, wasn't too much excitement around the NFL trade deadline. But the last couple of years, it feels like it's ramping up to be like a big thing going like later.
Yeah.
So I feel like this year, maybe even next year, especially if they go to 18 games, which will probably happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I know that's what Goodell's master plan is.
Either way, you still draft.
Oh, hell yeah.
An IDP, yeah.
I just took him.
You did. Well,
and everyone was making fun of me. Oh, someone didn't see the news. And I'm like, you'll play still. I'm not too worried.
For the Bears or somewhere else, he's still going to cause havoc. So
right. I mean, hopefully it's before week 1, but
yeah.
Otherwise, I got to get a contingency plan, but
yeah, it'll be fine.
So, but then the other news is in the AFC East, where apparently the New England Patriots are fielding offers for one Damien Harris. I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently when training camp started, he was on the second team. And Stevenson was getting all the reps with the first team. So I don't know how my dad keeps getting this freaking lucky. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah. I mean, that's like drafting a Niners running back and then like just skipping the whole list and jumping to the top in 1 year.
Right. I feel like this could be good for Damien Harris and Damien Harris owners. It could be bad for Damien, depending on where he goes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah, even Martin was saying some Jack. Oh, that was actually Tank, too. Tank was the Jack Wagon. Someone didn't see the news. Is that changes anything? I know. He sent that, and I was like, I checked it out. I clicked on the play on him, and I was like, oh, he requested a trade. Yeah. So my next response was, he'll ball out somewhere. If it's not Chicago, I'm not too worried. That's what I said. I feel like that's why he dropped to me, too, because linebackers were going. Mm-hmm. And then when it got to me, I was like, Roquan Smith is still here? Yeah. Well, I'm going to take him. So, but back to Damien Harris. Where do you – I haven't heard who might be calling the Patriots. I don't know. But we'll just go from, like, dream scenario. Like, where do you think his best spot would be?
Who's the running back in Miami?
Oh, which one? They have so many. Gaskins, Edmonds.
But do they have like a tier 1
Mostert, I think, went there.
Oh, yeah, Mostert did go there. I know Chase Edmonds.
They have like 4 linebackers that, yep. Tank equals Jack Wagon. He absolutely does.
I'm trying to think of like what other teams need a running back.
I was gonna say I could think of one. I think
Seattle as well.
I personally wouldn't like it because it would interfere with one of my players, but I think from a team standpoint, it could make it pretty dangerous.
Who's that?
Cardinals.
Nah, I feel like we're pretty solid in running back now.
Who's your number 2?
Benjamin.
Are they going with
Yeah, from everything I've heard out of training camp and everything, like he's much more confident this season. Cliff has been letting him run with the 2s, and he's been looking really good. Plus, he's one of those guys who can catch out of the backfield, so it's not like a big change if Connor comes out. And then we also have Daryl Williams. I think that's right.
one of the Williams. You do have
Yeah, one of them
Williams.
that came from the Chiefs. So
It wasn't the one that was with the Bears for the Chiefs, the Bears, and then here.
maybe. I don't know.
Could be. I don't know. I think they still have one of them.
I haven't heard too much out of him yet, but I think he's probably still running the system. So
He says, LMAO, love you, bud. Take Kramer. And then he says, Raheem Mostert for week 1. I agree. Raheem Mostert for week 1. And then Tank just responded, LMAO.
does that mean Chase Edmonds is RB2 there then?
Yeah, I don't know. But again, the guy who's the head coach there is coming from the 49ers. So
Yeah, so Chase Edmonds, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. He says Chase Edmonds will be number 1 when Raheem gets hurt injured after week 1. But yeah, they have Raheem. Like I said, I think they have 6 or 7 running backs.
Yeah, well, Raheem Mostert makes sense because he was with the Niners, and then.
But that's why I said it could either help Damien Harris and his owners, or it could hurt because if he ends up on one of those teams, like say the Eagles trade for him, or the Dolphins, or the 49ers, or just because they were like, well, we had this day, we don't know. Oh, let's get Damien Harris. He could be the running back.
I honestly think he'll just be one of those guys that if a team gets a running back that goes down, and they're like, we're pretty close. Let's try and bring him in. I feel like it's not just going to be some team that we need a running back.
So the Bengals, Mixon goes down.
Yeah, something like that.
Give us Harris now.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be that.
Because what is their best? Smaji P. Ryan. He showed some flashes, especially with the Bengals, but I still not thinking he can handle being RB1.
It would depend on when Mixon gets hurt, where the Bengals are. If it's just to ride out the year, then obviously you don't make that trade. But
yeah. So I don't know. I'm just trying to think of maybe Tampa.
I guess it depends on if Fournette loses 20 more pounds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know they did draft White, I think his name is.
Yeah.
So they have a white running back and a white linebacker. It's kind of weird, but
right.
The name, not color.
Yeah.
So, but I was just thinking maybe Tampa, because even if Leonard is down, I feel like Harris is more of a.
I could see Bill being a dick and be like, "Yeah, I'm not."
Oh yeah,
I'm not
that's
trading
true.
the running back to Tom
Forgot
Brady.
Tom's
Sorry.
there. Yeah, you're right. Maybe Jacksonville, if.
Well, aren't both of them coming back in time, or is Robinson?
I know Robinson's still on the pup list,
but I think ETN's back.
But I don't know if he's fully back yet, though.
Well, from what
I know, he's looked really good, apparently.
Well, from what I saw in the Hall of Fame game, it didn't look like it mattered who was.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter who the running back there is because they're not good.
No, not really.
I feel like I honestly feel like there's something going on with Jacksonville because apparently Sheriff was getting interviewed, and they asked him if he was looking forward to the Week 1 matchup against Washington.
Yeah,
and he was just like, "No,
I'm
not looking forward to it." And I was like, "Is that because you're not good?" And
is it in Washington?
I don't know, to be honest, but that was literally his response. No, I'm not. And people were like, "Okay." What's going on here? And then they came out and played the Hall of Fame game, and they looked horrible. And I was just like, maybe.
I feel like
granted, I wasn't that high on Jacksonville this year.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, I felt like you just want to see improvements in Trevor Lawrence this year.
Yeah.
I know that they spent a lot of money on guys. Well, also all the receivers are hurt right now. It seems like so.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk went down, and
I saw he was questionable.
I think
with something.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like there's so much like distrust within that organization right now, and Doug Peterson's just trying to like gain people's trust back and slowly build up the culture again in there after.
I'm assuming, but it's.
I mean, it's going to take time.
Poor Sheriff, he just had to go through with that in Washington.
Yeah, I know.
Ron Rivera coming in and changing the culture, and now he goes somewhere else. And he's like, "Man, I think I messed up. Maybe that's probably what it is." He's like, "Crap, I go through this again."
Yeah. You looking forward to this? I don't even know if I'm going to play.
He's like, at least my bank account looks nice.
Yeah. That's a bummer for sure.
I don't know. I just thought that was very peculiar when he was just like, no.
Yeah, that's like...
time when you're like going against your former team, that gets you like extra hyped and like you get you a little extra chip on your shoulder, and he's no.
Yeah, that's weird. But I mean, I guess like AJ Green said he wasn't very excited about going back to Cincinnati. Granted, it's a preseason game, but I mean, he spent how many years there?
Yeah, maybe there's just people who aren't excited to play the Reds. I guess
that's old news. Who cares?
And like Tom Brady, who seems to, although he barely beat the Patriots.
Well, I think that's because Bill knows how to what to do to rattle them.
Right.
I feel like that was Ron Rivera's whole game plan against Cam Newton. So he's like, "Oh, I got his kryptonite." So
you guys should take notes. Oh no, he's not there anymore. But
we just can't beat. Hey, we beat him the first time he ever played. So debut, beat him, Cam.
Yeah, but you still allowed him to break the rookie record for passing yards.
Well, it's a whole different story. So I don't think we knew what to expect then.
This was like his second game, I think.
No, his first game was the first. Cardinals, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you friggin'. I was like, oh, this guy might be a real deal.
He was for a little bit.
Yeah, and then I think injuries caught up, and then very sexist.
Yeah. Get back in the kitchen.
Yeah, women need to get back in the kitchen where they belong. And I was like, well, your career's over.
Hasn't helped him make it back to a football field. I think he's okay not playing anymore, though.
Neither of us really watched the Hall of Fame game. I was actually shocked how late I saw a bit of the first quarter and maybe some of the second. But the Raiders starters were in there for a while.
Yeah, especially like Josh Jacobs. And then that obviously fueled. Are they going to trade him? Rumors? Are they trying to?
That was the other big thing. McDaniels today came out and said that they don't intend on trading him, but I don't feel like that. I don't know the way he worded it.
Well,
I guess.
I don't know. Anytime one of these coaches says, "Oh no, we're not trading this,"
right,
guy,
and then all of a sudden, like a week later, they're gone.
I don't trust him.
Right, let's take a page from baseball. Oh, we're not trading Juan Soto. Well, he's a Padre now, so.
Well, I mean, Pete Carroll was like, "Yeah, we have no intention of trading Russell Wilson."
Right.
And then it got me kind of excited when he said that about DK too. I was like, "Yes, he's going to leave."
Right? Oh, not 3 year extension. I like how all those were saying. Look, I know this isn't it, but you brought it up. I feel like DK, Terry, and Debo all got like borderline the same contracts.
Also,
give or take a little differences. AJ, but he got an extra year and a little bit more money.
Well, I think 3 of those 4 guys have the same agent, so.
Yeah, you brought that up, and then when you said that, I was like, "Oh, well, I guess that's not."
I think Terry's the only one who has a different agent.
But I was just like, "That's crazy how they were like," and they were all less than what everyone thought they were going to sign for because everyone put them at like over $25 million a year, and I think they're right around like 22 point something.
Yeah,
because I know Terry's was 3 years, 71. Debo's was pretty much the same, 3 years, like 72, 73.
You have to see who Marquise Brown's agent is. Hopefully, it's not the same guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not Kyler's agent either because he likes to make a big spectacle in public.
If you're the Cardinals, is it better to try to get him long term now? Like, should you open negotiations now? Or do you wait and then?
I don't know. I feel
like that could backfire.
We could
from a money standpoint.
From all I know,
that's what I'm saying. But from a money standpoint, if you bring him in, granted, I mean, I think he might get a fine from the NFL for a speeding ticket. I don't think he'll get or maybe just like if this is his first offense, it'll be kind of like
I'm trying to remember what happened to Zayden Collins, but I don't remember if anything actually even happened.
I think he might have got a fine.
They probably just go into some protocol.
Yeah.
To like make sure that they're not a repeat offender.
Exactly, but I don't think Marquise Brown is. Outside of him ghosting the Ravens, he hasn't really been in the news.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I don't know, from a financial standpoint for the organization, it might be better to like knock out a long-term deal now.
They might be already working on one. The Cardinals seem to be
And
very
then
secretive
instead of like
now.
going during the season and like 5 weeks in, he's at like, 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, and like, oh crap, now we really gotta pay this guy some money.
Or do you wait until D-Hop comes back and maybe his production drops? So, like, hey, let's bring that dollar amount down just a little bit. So,
and as awesome and cool as that would be, I still feel like on the inside to be like, crap, I don't know if we'll be able to keep this guy now.
right?
Because Kyler's already how much, D-Hop's already how much.
Yeah. I think, though, if you look at production so far from Marquise, he hasn't had tons. So I feel like you'll get a better value deal. I feel like if you're Steve Kahn, you should be working on it right now before the season really gets going.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, well, so far this is what you've done. And we'll build, like, there's probably a ton of incentive-based, like, bonuses in there if they get to it. But, I mean,
I can see that.
They had that whole Marquise trade.
Ooh, that's a good question, too, since we're talking about the Cardinals.
Oh, our star backer?
Yeah, your star backer. That's his position, by the way, Martin. I don't know if you heard that. He's called the star backer.
I feel like they're
because he does everything.
They're letting him play more freely, kind of like what Jalen Ramsey is. I think he was second on our team in tackles last year. Like, he doesn't put up like gigantic numbers, but I feel like they have him playing almost every position on the field. So
I can tell you this: Braden's high on him. He was not happy when he got drafted in front of him.
Yeah, I was waiting to get him.
He was getting him, and he got taken away from him.
But I mean, I don't know if he I would buy on Isaiah Simmons. I don't know if he's top shelf or anything like that though.
I think from a dynasty perspective, if you can get him low, especially like right now, because he hasn't done much in the first 2 years, I would do it.
Yeah,
because I feel like
I'm hoping
this year and then going into next year, because if like this is what they have for him doing this year, and if it's successful, like he'll blow up next year. I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like his first is this his third year? Yeah, I think it was his third year. But the first 2 years, he was basically learning. He does an edge, he plays some corner.
I think this will actually help Buda Baker too.
Middle linebacker, yeah.
It's like some of the stress off of Buda Baker having to always be the one doing everything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are some times where it's like Buda's like, I gotta be here, I gotta be here, and then you sometimes see him in like the fourth quarter, and that guy looks gassed.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like he's giving us, he's like, well, I can't be the only one doing it. So if you had a guy like Simmons, who's just like could start as a linebacker, but be like, "Ooh, I'm way back here now."
Yeah, I feel like
he's got the speed.
He'll be like a safety, like a third safety, basically. I feel like, but he'll be more in front of the safeties, more in the box, be able to make plays up there. Because I mean, the dude has speed.
Yeah, I think it's the starting of like a new turning of the guard kind of for NFL defenses, because I feel like you got Isaiah Simmons, obviously a Buda who kind of did it, but I feel like
we had this years ago with Dan Buchanan, and we called him like a money backer.
And then Dan Buchanan was probably the first person.
He was too big to be a safety, but too small to be a linebacker, but he could hit guys. So they kind of like put him in this weird spot where he was not like a nickel corner, but like a third safety almost, because you'd have him come.
I heard that there was like they called him like free backer or like middle safety.
Yeah,
I heard those names thrown around. Yeah. But there's another guy coming in the league. This is his rookie year, who I feel like kind of be in that same position, I think, and that's Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
because you look at him, he's like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he can definitely be.
And they already have two established safeties, but everywhere I look, they have this guy like he's going to get tackles, he's going to get picks, he's going to force fumbles, and I'm like, how is he going to get on the field? And then I'm like, oh, because they're going to have the two safeties, and then they're going to have him probably be a third safety / linebacker.
Yeah, because he's fast enough to cover receivers, but like big and strong enough to still like get into the box.
Exactly.
I feel like no matter who would have drafted Isaiah Simmons, you would have had this issue of like, where do you play this guy? Because when he was at Clemson, he played everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then I feel like Jamal Adams can kind of be in that mold a little bit because I don't think I saw any safety in my entire life in the box as much as that dude.
yeah.
Like every down, run up, and I'm like, now he didn't always blitz. He would pull off sometimes, but like at start every play.
Yeah,
like,
it's like he wants to be like a middle linebacker,
right?
And I feel like
it's that hybrid
exactly
safety / backer, and I feel like it's going to be. You're going to see a lot of people probably. Because I think even Washington kind of did that with. We don't have him anymore. What's his name? Guy we just got rid of, safety. Because when he got hurt and he came back, they actually kept McCain and Curl in the safety positions, but they had him with the linebackers because our linebackers were so depleted. But what was his name? Martin loved him. Collins. Landon Collins.
The guy that was
he's gone.
Giants, right?
Huh?
Did he come from the Giants and then there?
Yeah, he was with the Giants, and then we signed him in free agency.
Gotcha.
Because he was a huge Sean Taylor, which I still feel is crazy. He has such an effect on people today. To this day, still. Like, oh, I love Sean Taylor. And I'm like, how old were you when he played? Should he try Simmons for Buckner? Who the hell has Simmons? Who's he trading with? I'm assuming this is
Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm assuming the Nasty League. I would.
Ooh, yeah.
Because if you imagine if he has the productivity of a linebacker, will you give him that designation? Oh, Jeremy Chin, he's another one.
Yeah, Jeremy Chin's another one of those
guys. Because you could tell it's a new position because Sleeper has D-back / linebacker, and it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And if Simmons gets that designation and he can produce like a linebacker, and you don't need him. You already got Chin.
He's trying to double.
And you just got rid of Bates. Like, how many safeties / linebackers do you need, dude?
All of them. He needs them all.
Come on, Martin. Say something for other people.
Yeah.
You need that headache of. You already have a headache of trying. Asking for a friend. Oh, I don't know how I typed my in there. Oh, okay. I think they should. If they could get Simmons for Buckner, I'd do it. Just because I feel like a defensive back / linebacker will be more productive than even like a middle tier of that would be more productive than a top tier just defensive line. No. And that's what Buckner is because he plays defensive tackle.
Yes.
Now he's great and he's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But even look at Aaron Donald. He doesn't put up crazy fantasy points.
It's just hard from that inside to get too much pressure.
Exactly.
So
I would do that in a heartbeat because someone will take the name to Forrest Buckner and be like, "Oh, that guy's a beast."
Yeah,
I'll do it.
But you'll probably average more points,
especially since I don't think people are very high on Isaiah Simmons right now. So,
well, he's one of them. So Martin is.
Oh, I know he is too. He's like Isaiah Simmons.
He's up there with what's his name from the Ravens. He's not a huge fan right now.
So.
No, you don't need them all. Save some for
for the rest. Yeah, you don't need all of them, Mark. Calm down. I don't even know who his second string was, but he just traded Jesse Bates because he was like, oh, we get 3 safeties.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my safety is falling off bicycles, so
and hurting his wrist. He's another one too that's kind of in that mold. Mika Fitzpatrick, I feel like. He's not as big as the other guys, but I feel like he's still physical. He's still not afraid to tackle, but he can also make plays up top.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he's like a bigger version of Buddha almost, so you can move him up like that because he's one of those dudes who'll just move around everywhere.
It's crazy, too, because you know who else would have been really good for that? Because I just found out in college he was a safety. Brian Urlacher probably would have been a big-time star backer. Because he was a 6'4" safety for New Mexico.
Yeah. Also,
and then he got drafted by the Bears, and just one day they were in a meeting, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, Brian, you're a middle linebacker." And he's like, "I've never played that." And they're like, "Just follow the ball. That's all you got to do." And I guess he was such a natural at it.
I feel like Pat Tillman would have been that way too. Well, actually, he went the opposite way though.
A little bit,
because he went from linebacker to safety.
But he could have been in that mold too, though.
Yeah. But
unfortunately, just in their days. They just weren't
too traditional.
Yeah. That's why it's so crazy. Like, it makes me feel kind of old sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to go back and watch, like, games from when I was younger and then now. And I'm like, wow.
I think you get these
Times
offensive
have changed.
geniuses out there,
Right?
Who
Change
take
the
those,
game.
Yeah, they see those mismatches and they're like, okay, and the defenses have to like counter. So I can see, like, in a few years we get those big giant bruising running backs again because you have all these like.
Yeah, it kind of does feel like it goes to
lightweight,
cycles, right?
Yeah, you're gonna because you have to have these guys that are fast.
Or you have your outliers where you're like, oh, Derrick Henry, oh, you're more old school.
Yep.
The Texans or the Titans make it work.
Yep.
But he's even a hybrid too, because that's like as much of a bruiser as he is. That dude is quick.
Yeah, I don't understand.
He's got such high top speed.
Yeah, and he runs so weird.
And he runs weird.
He runs like so
he's
like erect,
huge,
and you're just like, dude, how are you that fast?
Freaking arms of steel. Hey, you.
I know. He's
just no. He should have. If he doesn't have a 99 stiff arm in Madden,
right. He is stiff arm guys into retirement,
right?
Basically.
Like the amount of times I think he stiff armed more people than the whole rest of the NFL. Like I see more highlights.
Memorable ones,
yeah. I was like,
I mean, he's probably got stiff arms you never see because
right?
he's just like real brief and like he's got those highlight ones for sure,
right? Warren over here trying to hoard all the star backers.
Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna get Simmons. I'm gonna try to get Kyle Hamilton from Mark. I'm just gonna have a team full of.
Just trade away all his first.
I'm just waiting for that one defensive player that has the designation of like everything.
Right.
Defensive lineman, maybe could be like he's played enough in every position. He's a lineman,
yep,
backer, and defensive back.
Right.
So, all right, anything else? I guess did we kind of talk about the? Why are you saying for a friend again? For a friend.
Trying to remember if there was really anything else.
Oh yeah, that's what I was looking at. ESPN. I usually go there before the show.
Apparently, Julio Jones looks amazing down Buffalo.
Oh yeah, and then Julio Jones, Martin,
Buffalo,
looks amazing in Tampa.
Him and Tom Brady already got a connection.
Oh, and Von Miller's trying to recruit Odell to Buffalo because
that's right.
He needs to go there. They need more weapons.
Do you want to see Deshaun Watson do this year? You're probably watching him this Friday.
Oh yes, he's been named the starter for this Friday's preseason game.
Might be the only time you get to see him. Also, Matt Ryan will play.
He is going to play.
And he is yet to throw an interception in camp.
Interesting. I don't trust a guy who doesn't throw an interception in camp.
I like it. Especially since I have him in Dynasty. And
Oh, Smith got off the PUP list today.
So Mekhi Becton is down for the year, and they signed former Seahawks tackle Dwayne Brown.
Oh yeah, we have injuries. We can talk about injuries.
Who else is hurt? Oh, Russell Gage.
He went down. Who was the first one you said?
Mekhi Becton.
Oh, Mekhi Becton. Grant for the
Jakeem Grant tore his Achilles for the Browns.
Matthew Stafford's back in Detroit. I mean, Williamson is in Detroit.
Yeah, new number 9 in Detroit. I was like, wait, Stafford's back?
Right. No, I was just number 9 is back in Detroit.
Yes. I'm trying to think what else. There was a scare for the Buccaneers this morning because their backup center went down and had to be carted off.
But it was just cramps.
And then they found out it was just cramps, so he's fine.
And then what was the other? Oh, Frank Gore.
Supposedly dragged a naked woman through a hotel in Atlantic City, right?
Faces assault charges in New Jersey. Yep, Atlantic City. That's nuts. Oh, yes, and then tomorrow we'll be doing the Niners overview. One of our last, 3 or 4 teams that we have. Because Martin's finally back. Not today, though, unfortunately, but tomorrow he'll be back. And then I think next Wednesday we'll have a draft, sleeper mock draft. So that should be fun. And then I guess I could put the schedule. 2-person schedule. That the comment is blocking. And then I don't know, I think they're going on after us.
Usually I have a good idea of what they're talking about too, but I have
no idea. So the Spoiler Kings are on after us. And then Monday the schedule starts over with Sunday the schedule starts with Morning Spike. I'm not 100% sure. We're supposed to be doing our draft, I think. The Nerd Huddle is what they want to do this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be doing the Nerd Huddle League draft, I believe, this Sunday. If not this Sunday, it'll be the following one. I know they were talking about it. We'll have to make sure everyone gets in. And then you got your Spoiler Kings on Monday, Panda and Grizzly on Tuesday, and then it'll be us again on Wednesday, which I think we'll be doing a sleeper mock draft. Going over training camp news.
We'll have to get confirmation from Tank on whether or not Spoiler Kings is staying on Wednesday or not. Because I know She-Hulk's opening on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, there could be a schedule change with certain shows coming out on Thursdays. Keep you posted about that. But I think that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in, all two of you. Don't know what we'd do without you, Tank and Martin.
Right.
Pretty sure they're the ones who are watching. But, all right. I'm Mark. That's Braden. We will see you guys next time.
Getting hyped when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, yeah, that's how I'm living.